today in seat number 2, and we're going to talk about the fallout. Finally, the Clinton test. Last week we previewed this, the Clinton testimony. You had Hillary throwing Bill under the bus, and now you finally get to see Bill be Bill. He actually seems like he is totally in his element. It's pretty fascinating. Sorry, one second. We have I've got something in my ear going on. Hang on one second. Oh, I know what it is. I'm sorry. I've got the Rumble video going in my ear. Forgive me, chat. That's what it is. Okay, sorry about that. We got a great show for you. We have we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about this Frida baby scandal. Have you guys heard about this? The Frida baby scandal, where they are sexualizing children by marketing their baby products. And you just got to wonder, why in the world would they do this? I think it has something to do with why in the world would people be doing the gross things that we see in the Epstein files. I mean, I certainly think there's a connection from a depravity standpoint there, no doubt about it. Also, we'll have fallout from what's going on overseas in the Middle East. Marco Rubio, Mike Johnson, President Trump, the Strait of Hormuz. This is an interesting thing. It's not that the Strait of Hormuz has been closed. It's that insurance companies from Europe are not willing to insure the shipments. And so President Trump is now stepping in and saying, okay, we'll insure you, and we'll give you a United States military escort through the Strait of Hormuz. So we'll talk about that as well if we have time. The Paul Harrell program starts right now. Right now.
Paul Harrell program.
They can't all be winners. This is the thing. They can't all be winners. This is something that I have learned. Eric Haynes, how are you, sir?
Hey, it's great to be part of the conversation.
It's always great to have you. I really appreciate it. I also appreciate your patriotic American flag at a time such as this. How was your weekend, sir?
Weekend was great. I had a big time with the kiddos. And my wife actually went down to Disney World for a half marathon with some of her friends, so I survived, though. It was great.
So you were at home with the kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, there's plenty of dads out there that, recognize. I am also one. I recognize the feat that you accomplished.
We have 4 kids under the age of 12, too, so
okay.
There's a lot going on.
That's a lot going on for sure. All right, so we got Bill Clinton, guys. I mean, what's crazy is I know he's old, and I know he's shaky, and I know you and I believe that he should be in jail. We did a poll on with the LFA TV audience on Friday, and I asked if you had to pick one, Hillary or Bill, which one do you want to go to prison? And everybody, or not everybody, a lot of people said both. It's got to be both. But Hillary was the clear winner. And I think one of the reasons is just because, Hillary is just objectively a lot worse and harder to listen to, quite frankly. But they finally released these testimonies. We finally get the behind the scenes with Lauren Boebert and the reaction when Hillary found out that Lauren Boebert had snapped a picture of her before the hearing began. And there was she took a lot of flack for that. Betty Johnson, obviously, they both took a lot of flack for that. But I'm here to tell you, I think it's almost worth it because now we get her reaction, and she's trying to claim that she's a victim. But before we get to that, I want to get to Bill. Okay, so here it is. We just have a few headlines here. First, Politico, left-wing rec, Epstein files put Clinton under scrutiny. Then we have House panel releases videos of Bill and Hillary Clinton answering questions. But Bill did not disappoint. It's almost as if he reveled in this. I'm going to be frank. It's almost as if, this old guy who used to be, obviously the president, but he used to be kind of, the center, the guy that could just lie his way out of any situation. It's almost as if Bill, out of these tapes, revels in this whole thing. So take a listen to this, and we'll get your reaction.
You know there was a survivor that was on the plane. You've stated that you didn't know she was a survivor. I understand that. But I'm asking now that you are aware that Epstein was recruiting survivors as masseuses, does this make you rethink what you saw as you were traveling and interacting with him?
So he has already spoken wait a minute. I want to make sure that you are clearly answering her question. He's already stated what he saw and what he knew. And so what you're now asking him is, given what you've now shared with him.
I know, it could do two. The shaking, it's like, yes, he's a very old guy.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not trying to make fun, but it's just one of those things where what was he thinking right then when she interrupted him and he was just like, all right, I guess I will hold off on what I was trying to say before she interrupted me.
Bless his heart. Every time I say that just because nobody wants to see an old person, suffer, although let's not pretend that he's a victim. I'm not saying he's a victim. It's the Southern thing in me. Bless his heart. It's just, it's sad to see. It's sad to see. At the same time, he does it every time he drinks, but it does look like he's nervous. I don't think he is, but it makes it look like he's got the police spotlight in the.
That's what the initial gut reaction was, like, oh, he's shaking like a leaf because he's nervous. Like, well, he's just 185.
You know
years
why
old.
he's not nervous? Because nothing is going to happen to him.
There's no smoking gun.
Nothing is, even if there was.
Yeah,
nothing is going to happen. All right, but so the attorney's got to interject.
He's already stated what he saw and what he knew, and so what you're now asking him is, given what you've now shared with him, does he think any differently about what he saw and what he knew? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I wish Shantae had told me I liked her.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Shantae had told me I liked her.
Look at the attorney. Oh, no.
But I didn't think it was anything unusual. I can't tell you how many airplanes I've been on where rich people asked me to go and they had someone offering massage. All these boats that you go on and all that, they all do that. And usually I don't do that. I'm not into this.
Well, that certainly raises some other questions about people offering free massages on boats, etc. We know that.
I feel bad. I feel guilty. I feel bad laughing because it's like
it's so cringe.
It's so cringe.
It is so cringe.
Yeah, we talked about this with Joe Biden. With the hair sniffer, and it's just that creepy old man stuff that you see coming reeking. He just reeks of it.
Yeah, this is just what you do. I can't tell you how many planes I've been on, boats, rich, where they got girls. They got girls offering massages. I normally don't do that type of thing, but
that was good.
But I just, I thought, well, it's been a while.
Well done.
It's been a while. It's just been too long. Here's another one about flight attendants.
What did happen, Mr. President?
I don't know. I've already told you this. I'll tell it again. I never saw anybody do anything wrong. I thought they were flight attendants.
Do flight attendants typically wear tank tops and jeans?
They don't all wear uniforms on private planes.
Yes,
He's
sir.
thinking, no, but I'm glad they did.
That's probably pretty business class.
That's probably pretty business class. This is gross.
Well, sometimes they're not wearing anything at all. So this is just kind of a glimpse into, what we're really watching here. As I mentioned the accountability earlier, we're watching two different tiers of the justice system play out before our eyes.
Yeah.
And we can sit here. I'm sorry, I don't have confidence that this is really any sort of effort in these files. Do they need to be questioned? Yeah, but come on.
Yeah.
She sits there. She gets asked about Pizzagate, and really, she should have been asked about pizza. She should have been asked about grape soda and the what are clearly code words, and instead she just, that's a crazy conspiracy theory where the guy came and shot up the pizza ping pong place.
Yeah. I want to be clear. I don't feel bad for him. I feel bad that I'm laughing at the creepiness of this.
Yeah.
And trying to almost not to downplay it.
It does.
But just,
it kind of humanizes him in a bad way, actually.
It really does. Because you want to look at somebody like this and this dignified presidential elder statesman.
Yeah.
You know, would you look at past presidents and go throughout history from George Washington? Do you expect that they were like this when they were his age?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
It's just a level of, creepiness that sadly we've seen it now with him and with we saw it with Joe Biden too. Mm-hmm. Not everybody said a lot about it because they just said what we're saying now, which is that, he's just old. He's just creepy old Uncle Joe. It's like, no, he's sniffing kids' hairs.
Speaking of creepy Uncle Joe, this was the clip that was making the rounds where
if he did that to my kid, I'd punch him in the face.
So there's not a lot, yeah, of course. And there's not a lot of dialogue in this one. It's just clearly the attorney is worried about optics. Bill Clinton is just trying to reminisce, apparently about about the photos that are in front of him. Here he is looking.
Let me see it.
She does not want to hand that back to him.
Okay.
Mr. President, we have about 5 minutes remaining.
Okay, so it's just an act. Now,
Yeah.
that is an act. That is just, let's just smile and act like it's a big joke so other people will think it's a big joke.
No. And see, now, as this devolves and there's more and more of this, the more and more I see of it. I didn't know we were going to be able to get all these videos this quick from the depositions,
I thought it'd
by the
be a
way.
little while.
I thought it was going to be a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But I was anxious to see it, and now the more and more I see it, the more angrier you kind of get at it. Yeah. That he knows, like, I can just laugh at this and, think of this from my fond memories of being on all these planes and getting all this treatment from Epstein. Like,
yeah, people were.
And boy, those massages were great. Like, gross.
Yeah, and they were saying like this was like it's like him looking at his old, high school yearbook or something like that. Now, this was the lengthy one. This was a lengthy questioning here, and because the infamous photos of him in the pool, which I believe are right here. So do you see that? You see that one there on the bottom left? I think this is the one where he's in the pool. And who is this blacked out girl in the background there? Okay, who is that? I'm pretty sure this is the photo that they are presenting to him in this particular part of the deposition.
Well, it's not his wife, Hillary Clinton.
No,
that's for sure.
But what's interesting here, and Robbie Starbuck kind of breaks it down for us. He says, when they asked if the young girl in the hot tub pic was with him, was that part of the traveling party? Because he's at some sultan's palace. That's where that photo was taken. Some sultan's palace while Bill Clinton is working on AIDS, working on his AIDS initiative, he says. So he says, I don't know who the girl was, and then in the next sentence, or the next couple of sentences, admits, hey, she was with our traveling party. So that's odd that he wouldn't know who she was when then he admits traveling party. And then, of course, if any mistakes that he does make, he can just blame on being old and shaky, right? This is the other problem, is that all of this should have been fleshed out a long time ago, but we have a justice system that is two-tiered. But listen to this.
And what we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo, or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this pic, and I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, is it, who is that including?
Well, my TIL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and
Okay.
Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. And his first involvement with international matters was basically to join the Asian Pacific Economic Leaders Conference, which I started and which he attended. And then he was very proud of that, and he hosted, his time came to host it. You know, you do these things in a rotation. And it came at either at the very end of my term or maybe the next year. Anyway, he wanted, when he knew I was coming, and he said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did, and then I got out and went to bed, exhausted.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part
Just
of
for the record, using the term exhausted after what's being insinuated in all of
Yeah.
this is probably
We
the
know-
worst word you could possibly use.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Did you have something else before I continue?
larger pool area. Do you all have
Yeah.
that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
You should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's noted.
it'll
Yes.
give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do
thanks. I just
have
wanted
it
to
as
make
well.
sure he knew the
And so
context.
were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about,
Well,
He's asking in the pool
It appears
area.
there's this photo, there's a girl over here, or there's someone.
yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area were there other
Yes,
individuals?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know?
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Okay, so do you remember were they under 18? Would you
No.
know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night or late-ish, and I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
Okay, and was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water, this big pool, was on the same floor that there were several suites, so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in any sexual activity
No.
with this person? Okay.
Such a, I mean, it's just, you can feel the tension in that video. There's a few with Hillary Clinton, you can feel the tension as well, but that certainly is one. What do you guys think out there? What do you think of the LFA TV chat?
Yeah, I got to say something about the chat too. I got on earlier today. I had some time late morning during Jeremy's show, and logged on and started interacting. It's fun being in the live chat. If you're one of my nicknames is Easy, because that's one of my that is my name on Whatnot, which is something that my son and I do, trading and selling baseball cards. And anyway, so I logged on, and that's my call name. So if you see me in the chat, say hello. I'm on there and was on there today. It was fun.
All right, so Eric, your name is what now?
Easy Haynes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Easy Haynes. There you
Yeah.
go. That's Eric, everybody. Well, good. I'm
It's a
glad
great.
you did that.
This is such an awesome chat. There's lots
All
of,
day long, it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the thing. All right, so here we go. I had a. Let me see here. Just lost it. Let's see here. So we have John Yarder saying, so 12 hours to get there, 12 hours to get back, but it was done in one night. WTF. Specifically, Roby Starbuck on this tweet that we were just throwing up there was picking up on the fact that he says, I don't know who that was, but then says the people there were with the travel party. We have TC 33181 saying he's scum. We have Avonde 02 or Evan D 02. I think he's almost dead and doesn't give an excrement anymore. He knows he lied. So I know I substituted your 4-letter word for my word, but if you hear me cussing, things have gone really. I have lost control. I'd really do my best because my mom listens to this show, and so I'm going to do my best to keep it family friendly. So there you go. I see it. I see Easy Haynes. There you are,
there it is.
Eric. Okay, all right. So moving on now to Hillary Clinton, we have some of those clips. This one was an interesting one. We're not going to play this whole thing, but this one was so cringe, where she, for 3 minutes and 10 seconds, gives the exact same answer, no, 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 to every single name. Listen.
The question is, have you ever communicated with any of the following people relating to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell? Richard Kahn,
No.
Darren N. Dyke,
No.
This goes on for 3 minutes. No, no, no. Names like Bill Gates, Evelyn de Rothschild, several de Rothschilds are in there, which is interesting because in this next clip, Bill Clinton is admitting that he is actually closer with Ghislaine Maxwell because of her connections to the Rothschilds. Listen to this.
During Ms. Maxwell's interview, she stated that President Clinton was her friend, not Epstein's friend. Is that accurate?
I'd say that it was accurate to say that I felt closer to her than to him.
And for the record, why was that?
I mean, come on. Do we really have to speculate as to why Bill might be closer to Ghislaine Maxwell than to Jeffrey Epstein? Do we really have to speculate? Why is that? Why, Bill? Tell us. Why did you feel closer? Why did you have more of a connection with Ghislaine?
Yeah. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Because I had seen her more, and because she was very good friends with Evelyn Rothschild and his wife Lynn, whom I knew and was in regular touch with.
During Ms. Maxwell's interview.
Well, there you go. So he liked Ghislaine more than he did Jeffrey. And here it is. Okay, finally, and we'll close with this. We'll see, how many more of these do we have? Yeah, we've got the likes him young. Let's get to this. So Lauren Boebert, she took some flack because last week she snapped a photo of Hillary Clinton, and the photo was then given to Benny Johnson, and Benny Johnson posted it while the hearing was going on.
Right.
Apparently, you're not supposed to do that. Now, Boebert says, I took the photo before the hearing began, but that wasn't enough for former secretary with the secret email server that she wiped with a cloth, Hillary Rodham Clinton. That wasn't enough for her. She had to storm out and act like a victim.
Yeah.
Saying that she's done. So listen to this exchange.
Information. Okay. I went to the fundraiser to support my friend Nia Lowy.
All right.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
There
another.
are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm done
can
with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So I would like
sake.
to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was,
It doesn't
Excuse
matter.
me.
We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So
well,
I would like to take a break at this moment.
yeah,
and I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
I mean, a lot of people thought this was going to totally derail the hearings. Obviously, it didn't. She came back. I'm, everything happens for a reason. I'm grateful just so we got that reaction.
Ugh.
I'm grateful that Lauren Boebert did what she did.
Yeah, you talk about triggering.
Yeah, I mean, if
Want
anything,
to
just
get
from
under
a,
the skin of Hillary Clinton?
yeah, if anything, just for content, just
Yeah.
for content. I mean,
You see the finger pointing
Uh-huh.
at Boebert too? It reminded me of Pelosi. Shut up.
yeah, I'm done. I'm done. If you guys are going to do
done.
this, I'm done for now. I'm done. We're done. Anyway, then we get to this. Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein likes him young. Why is that?
In the Epstein cases that Epstein said, you quote, like them young. Why would Epstein say that about you?
Are you asking his opinion? You're asking him to think about why Mr. Epstein would say
Correct.
something
Why
about
would,
him?
why would Epstein say that
So
about
she's
the
asking you
president?
to try to be in Mr. Epstein's mind and guess at what Mr. Epstein would have thought about.
First of
Clinton
all,
likes them young, referring to girls.
that's not true.
What's not true?
That I have any interest in underage,
I didn't say underage. I said young.
but it's still not true.
Is an intern young?
Yes,
Okay.
at my age,
Did-
anybody younger than I am.
Did you
is
know
young.
Jeffrey Epstein instructed a witness to deny you were ever on his island?
He didn't have to since I was never there.
Did you ever travel to Zorro Ranch?
Is that the one in New Mexico?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Have you ever flown on anyone else's private jet 26 times or more?
So it's interesting.
It's the
He
sa-
flies on the Lolita Express 26 times or whatever, probably more than that, but that's what we know of. And then he says, I've never been to his island, and I've never been to Zorro Ranch. By the way, the stuff going on at Zorro Ranch, from what I'm reading, is far more disturbing than what went on the island. And stuff going on the island is very terrible. What are you going to say, Eric? I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Hard to said it perfectly, and that's what I was thinking when I was watching this, which is that it's the same person that sat there in that creepy deposition. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. It's the same. I mean,
I know, it is
he's
like- it
older
is-
and
Yeah.
you know, more feeble now.
Yeah.
But that's the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah, he's the same. He is the same.
He's
an
the
old.
same.
He is in old form. I mean, he's in old form. If that makes sense. Like, this is who Bill Clinton is. You know.
Yeah, we credited some of his politics last week because of the way he did work with both sides of the aisles and had more of a bipartisan way of, you know, the 8 years of his administration and the people that were in his not only cabinet but that were in Congress at the time, and it wasn't so polarized and nasty. And he brought a lot of people together. But this crap, like this is the same. It's the same guy as, you know, the Monica stuff. It's exactly.
No,
what it
you're
is.
exactly right. But I'll even to kind of bolster your point there. In the mid '90s, Bill Clinton and Al Gore stood in the White House lawn, one of the outdoor, and they had a signing ceremony. And the signing ceremony was for a Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Now, the First Amendment is there; you don't really need it, but they codified something protecting religious freedom. The state of so fast forward from the 90s to 2015, where the new governor of Arkansas at that time, Governor Asa Hutchinson, who, by the way, whose political future was basically ended during that Tucker Carlson, Mike Pence.
Oh yeah,
Asa, you know, because Asa didn't sign he didn't sign one of the transgender ban bills, the puberty blockers, the chemical castration, right? And, you know, tried to go on and defend himself or whatever. So just was terrible. But back in January of 2015, January, February, somewhere in there, it was essentially the exact same bill that had been passed at the federal level. We were trying to pass it at the state level, and Asa wouldn't do it. He wanted to weaken it before he passed it. And if that doesn't tell you what happens, if that doesn't tell you the slippery slope, like, to your point, like a Democrat was able to get something like that through, you know, nationally at a federal level in the mid-'90s. They were okay with it. But fast forward to 2015, in a red state like Arkansas, they couldn't pass a religious freedom restoration bill because the LGBTQ RSTLNE, would you like to buy a Val Enclave, started protesting in Little Rock. And at that time, Governor Hutchinson said, I can't support this anymore. I want you to amend it before I support it. Because he was afraid, even then, of the rainbow backlash. So to your point, yeah, things were a lot different in the 90s, even in partisan politics. At this point, it's just indefensible. The two parties are not, I mean, there's bad stuff about the Republican Party, no question. But to even attempt to even attempt to approach some sort of moral equivalency, oh, they're both bad. They're not both equally bad. Even now, you can say that, in my opinion. But yeah, they are both bad. So here's more on this clip here. Listen.
For overseas trips.
I have flown as many miles on other jets, but never with as many stops.
How many other people's planes have you used, like Epstein 26 times or miles, etc.?
I don't know. I did with Steve Bing, who's now deceased, and probably with 4 or 5 others.
Okay, so maybe about a half dozen billionaires total. So, how many dinners did you have with Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein in attendance?
Coffee cup.
She's asking to the best of your recollection.
I have no idea.
Okay, did you ever discuss sexual misconduct allegations made against you with Epstein or Maxwell?
Never.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer to help manage or silence women who made sexual misconduct allegations against you?
No.
Did Epstein or Maxwell ever offer financial support directly or indirectly to legal defense funds related to impeachment proceedings or civil actions against you?
Not to my knowledge.
Do you think a young girl massaging a president is unusual?
So are you asking his opinion?
Well, he was massaged by a young woman. I'm asking if he thinks it's unusual that a president, sitting president of the United States, leader of the free world, that it's
I'm sorry,
unusual.
are you talking to the instance of
Yes, is it unusual that
the
a
back
young woman would be
massage that occurred while he was not president? I'm just trying to understand. You said a president of the United States.
Former president.
Thank you. Just trying to make sure we're correcting the time frame.
Depends on what
No,
the
I don't need
definition
to.
of
I'm
a
actually trying to make sure that as you
To be clear, he said
you said he was a sitting president.
Excuse me, could we just please go one at a time? Thank you.
You said a sitting president. I want you to be clear so that when he answers
Former
you,
sitting
the
president. How
record
do
is
you want to
clear.
do it? Is it unusual?
I have no idea if it's unusual.
Objection calls for speculation.
I'm glad Nancy Mace said that, and I'm glad she said that back to the lawyer, saying, "Are you just trying to filibuster?"
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Give me a break.
You're just trying to
Who
get to the
cares?
bottom here.
Stop with the goofy semantics.
We have, let's see, I guess what is this? Clever CL VR. He's lying. Yep. Okay. Yep. He's absolutely pitiful. That's one Holly Biker dude or dudette. He's absolutely pitiful. Where's the one about the old man? Oh, yeah, here it is. Mr. Shy official over on LFA TV, over on Rumble, folks, so join the chat if you haven't. He redefines dirty old man.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Dirty old man. What is it about?
We saw it before, though, in Joe Biden in our last
That's
president.
what I was about to say.
He got elected.
Like, yeah. Yeah, basically the whole Biden. I don't know, how old is Clinton versus Biden? Are they basically the same age or thereabouts? Can you imagine, like, Bill Clinton being president at the age he is right now? That's what it felt like with Biden, you know.
I don't remember Bill talking about all the kids at the pool feeling his hairy white leg hair. So
yeah, that's true.
At least,
yeah, Bill Clinton was listening to Joe Biden talk about it and be like, "Joe, you got to keep that stuff to yourself.
Yeah.
You got to save that for an Epstein hearing."
Joe was talking about corn pop and all the leg hair jokes, and Bill had his cup of coffee like this. Can't believe he said that.
All right, so we got one more clip, and this one's the doozy. So there's a conspiracy theory out there surrounding the Anthony Weiner laptop, that Anthony Weiner had a folder on his laptop marked life insurance. Inside that folder, according to the theory, there was a video file on there known as Frazzle Drip. Now, allegedly, this is a video of Hillary Clinton doing the darkest stuff you can imagine, but definitely satanic. Basically, the allegation is that it's some sort of snuff film where there's murder going on. That question actually was asked, and the lawyers shut it down immediately.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled "Insurance, Life Insurance," with a zip file titled Frazzle.
I'd like the chairman's
This is way
I'd like
outside
the
the
chairman's
scope.
ruling.
This is way
within the
outside the
scope?
scope.
Is this within the scope, Mr.
If
Chairman?
the chairman rules that it's not within the scope, I
Mr.
have
Chairman,
other
based on
questions.
what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
We can go off the record for a moment. to confirm
Mr.
with
Chairman,
the
is this
chairman.
within the scope?
We'll go off the record.
and can talk.
Off the record.
Yeah, Comer was like, all right, fine.
So, I mean, does anybody have any idea what something like that does? Okay, so this video we now have, right? And so they didn't want to talk about Anthony Weiner's laptop. They didn't want to talk about life insurance. And she even got the word out, frazzle drip. And
then the shouts from the lawyers started.
so what does that do
came
to
in.
the conspiracy theory? If not,
It just ramps it up.
it just ramps it up. That's exactly right. And also, what do we believe about conspiracy theories for the most part? I mean, if anything, the last 6 years has taught us anything, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. People thought Pizzagate was crazy, was out there, you know, even though you had evidence, like really weird stuff going on with pizza code words and that sort of thing. And then we saw the code words in the emails. So we know there's clearly something there. And, you know, you didn't even have to have the Epstein files to know, because you could have looked at a guy by the name of Ben Swan. Ben Swan was working for a local mainstream media affiliate, and he did a local segment on Pizzagate, and it was very good, and it was very well sourced. And he got fired because of it. And so, again, all of that did was give life to those that are willing to believe their own eyes and kind of those that are awake. And now here we are. So who knows? Who knows? I mean, I remember the reports about Anthony Weiner's laptop and the stuff that was on there, and the people that saw what was on there and how they could never sleep again. And even, I believe, some of them mysteriously are no longer with us.
It became the problem is it became too much about him and the dirty pics of himself that he was taking and sending to other girls out, that weren't his wife, and then that became the news story, and then he resigned and got out of politics and whatever.
Hey, real quick, we're going to take a 1 minute break, and when we come back, have you heard, and this kind of ties into all of this sick, depraved stuff of our leaders, because the private corporations are just as guilty. The private corporations are in on this. The line between evil government official or, evil CEO, or private versus public, it just seems like it's what's the old phrase? It's one big club and you're not in it, right? So we're going to talk about the Frida Baby Company. Many of you who have raised kids or you have grandkids, there's this little piece of technology called the Frida
Nose Frida.
The Nose Frida. Well, there's now moms all across the country that want to boycott not just the Nose Frida, but Frida and all of their baby products because they're sexualizing kids. We'll have that story for you here in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. Back here in a moment.
I'm Brian Norris, retired Army First Sergeant, husband to Kelly, father of 3 amazing girls, and a lifelong Arkansan who puts faith, family, and fair elections first. When Independence County demanded real election transparency, I led the charge, petitioning voters and winning at the Arkansas Supreme Court. Now, Little Rock bureaucrats are punishing counties like Searcy for putting voters first. That's not real conservatism. It's big government overreach in disguise. That's why Trump allies like General Michael Flynn, Mike Lindell, Justice Michael Gableman, Colonel Conrad Reynolds, Senator Wendy Rogers, and Senator Mark Fincham back me. Together, we'll secure Arkansas's elections and inspire the nation. As Secretary of State, I'll implement President Trump's executive order, verify citizenship, replace hackable voting computers, and build trust with verifiable paper ballots. I'll cut red tape for businesses, harness our natural gas and lithium boom, and attract tech jobs to grow Arkansas strong. This is our fight, our future. Join us.
Paid for by Norris for Arkansas.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for being with us. As always, we cannot do the program without you watching. I want to remind everybody to like, share, and subscribe wherever you're watching, however you're watching. We really do appreciate it. And also want to thank LFA TV and the great folks listening. We really we cannot do this without you. This has been amazing. Tomorrow will have been on the network for 1 week, and it has been a great ride. I was talking to Jeremy last night, and was just very grateful for him to give this platform, giving me a platform here, and so we really appreciate it. Somebody in the chat asks if we are related. No, we are not. He has the same last name phonetically, but not alphabetically. So there's that. So we really appreciate it. We want to tell you about this story. This first came to my attention last night, in fact. I was talking with some family members, and they were asking me, have you heard about the Frida baby scandal? And I said, no, what's that? And they said, you're not going to believe it. They're advertising their products with sexual explicit jokes and innuendos, and in so doing, they're sexualizing the children that they're marketing their products to. And I said, well, give me an example. And one of the examples they gave me sounded like it was made up. I thought to myself, there's no way that's accurate. The example they gave me was there's a baby thermometer that is it's not a mouth thermometer.
Rectal.
It's a rectal thermometer. And one of the marketing ploys was, quote, this is the closest your husband will ever get to a threesome. And I literally thought, there's no way that that's real. There's no way that there's a company that is that disconnected. Because is that evil? Is it sick? Is it twisted? Yeah, that's true. But somewhere, somebody thought, oh, no, this is acceptable in society. This is a joke that is acceptable, and it's going to be funny, and people are going to buy the product because of threesomes and babies.
Yeah.
And also the act of inserting a thermometer. Like, this is messed up, man. This is totally insane.
I'm envisioning like this super liberal group of Gen Z marketing kids that are a few years out of college, maybe, that came up with these ideas as they were brainstorming. Like, let's do something to get attention, but had no idea how that would land, and obviously didn't run it by anybody with an ounce of common sense before they approved this stuff and put this on packaging. I can't believe this stuff made it to the shelves in retail stores and pharmacies. It's crazy. And I'll say too, I know this the Nose Frida product from raising 4 kids, and when you're able to decongest a small little kid who's got an entire face full of giant snot rockets, and you're able to use that thing real quick. I watched my wife do it many, many times, and I tried to do it a couple and badly, but like the product is really cool, but they're done.
No. I mean, I know that we had something similar. Originally, I think it was it a European product or something originally, or I can't remember. I did a little research on the CEO. Her name is Chelsea Hirschhorn, Chelsea Hirschhorn is her name.
Yeah.
And she got the product as a gift years ago from a friend who was the owner, I believe, or at least a part owner, an investor or something. And she loved it so much, this Hirschhorn lady, that she bought the company. Previously, she had been an attorney. She had worked for the Florida Marlins. She was also in sports law, this Hirschhorn lady. Before that, she worked at firms in New York during the 2008 financial crisis, dealing with everything you can imagine during the 2008. If you've ever seen The Big Short, I know you love that movie. We watched that the other day. So this is kind of who she is in the circles that she's traveled in. So she gets this company, and I'm just trying to track it down and figure out, like, what in the world's going on? Why do you allow something like this to take place? Because, yeah, you're right. It could just be a bunch of Gen Zers thinking this is funny. I don't know. This type of sexual innuendo, I just don't see how it happens without it getting approved by somebody at the top or close to the top.
These are the same types of people that thought it was clever to do that Jaguar commercial with all the random models and colors where it had nothing to do with the vehicle.
Yeah, that's
These
true.
are the same people that put together the Bud Light, the Dylan Mulvaney's of the world. I mean, look what that did to the Bud Light brand, which I'm fine with, but it's just like these are people that are cut from the same mold.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But this is our children.
But this It is sick.
So there's a change.org petition. Hold Frida Baby accountable for their sexualization of babies in their marketing. So far, it got 28,846 verified signatures. It needs a lot more. But then you see there, right there on your screen, they talk about pull-out game. Now, that is a sexual phrase. For those of you that don't know, I'm not going to get graphic as to what that is, but I think you can figure it out. Some people might consider it a form of birth control. But they call it a noun. They say, parent who may or may not pull their weight in snot-sucking duties. There's one in every fam. Then you have a threesome, when your toddler invades the bed and takes up 70% of available space. Oh, but that's not the threesome joke that I heard about, because they did make the other one. Here's a few of them. What happens when you pull out too early? Captioning a photo of a baby with snot on their face. How about a quickie? Quote, how about a quickie printed on their thermometer packaging? Quote, this is the closest your husband is going to get to a threesome, captioning a child's 3-in-1 thermometer. Another one, quote, yeah, sex is great, but have you ever nose-freeded a giant booger that's been stuck? Then we have threesome, a noun when your toddler invades your bed, pull-out game, noun, parent. So you see all that. And they were putting all of this, folks, on social media. Baby's face blocked for privacy. I've got a few of these. Let's look at this right here. Just the tip. Frida Baby faces explosive boycott and scandal over disgusting sexual innuendos on baby products. Parents demand answers as brand sexualizes infants. Yahoo News headline, U.S. baby care brand accused of sexualizing children. You see it right there. Do you see what that says? This isn't just a social media post. This is on their boxes. This is how they're marketing their products. I'm a power sucker. How about a quickie? You see there. And then here is the social media post. Quote, this is the closest your husband's going to get to a threesome. Meet the new 3-in-1 True Temp Thermometer, the Swiss Army knife of temperature-taking accuracy, with the image of a baby's bottom and a thermometer right next to it. Now,
dude,
this is evil. This is wicked, and it is satanic. Like, this is just an adjacent level of Satanism that you see. You wonder, how could the people talk about the stuff that they talk about within the Epstein files? Well, we got people who are heads of corporations selling to the public and just saying this stuff right out in our faces. And yeah, people are figuring it out. Praise the Lord. People are figuring it out. But this type of stuff is nuts, man. This is absolutely crazy. And this is indecent. Like, so this is where I'm like, banning things is good sometimes, right? This is where I throw off my former libertarian self from 10 years ago. This type of stuff should be a crime.
Yeah.
This should be criminal to do. You are exploiting our most precious resource, which is our kids. And people that do stuff like this, there should be criminal penalties for this. There should be fines at a bare minimum, and I would be for jail time for stuff like this. As a matter of fact, if you had jail time as the punishment, stuff like this would not happen. Decency laws, we were talking about this the other day. The FCC, there's words that you can't say. We try to keep this show clean because the FCC does govern the content of this program on the cable channel that we're on in North Central Arkansas. And it's actually a good thing. I think, like, I actually like the last remnant of saying, you know what, in terms of what we broadcast to the public, maybe we're not going to say certain words because we're admitting that there are things that are good and things that are bad, and banning things is good sometimes. At least that's my philosophy. And stuff like this should be illegal. It should 100% be illegal. The equivalent, like whatever the equivalent explanation is of, yelling fire in a crowded theater, can't do that. Well, you also can't sexualize children
Yeah.
and market it and try to make money off of it. It's gross. Essentially, baby Frida is nothing more than some sort of pimp. It's like it's just like some sort of giant pimp service, in my opinion. Sorry, I get worked up over that. If Rob were here, he would have literally turned into a rocket and exploded out of the ceiling.
None of this stuff will ever be in my house again. Just like Gillette razors aren't in my house anymore because of their toxic masculinity nonsense that they did a few years ago. Just like we try to stay away from Nike products and a lot of those other things. And I don't have to make some big giant public boycott, speech or presentation about it. I'm just thankful for the free market and that there are other options. And I'm not going to spend my money or my support with products like this that do stuff like that. I mean, this is an easy, just never again.
Look at how they see now. Everything's in question, right? Like, here's the windy gas passer. Look how they got that baby positioned, right? Like, now everything's in question. Here's their statement. This is their statement from the controversy. From the very beginning, Frida has used humor to talk about the real, raw, and messy parts of parenting that too often go unspoken. We do this because parenting can be isolating and overwhelming, and sometimes a moment of levity is what makes a hard experience feel human, shared, and survivable.
Yeah, no, you can't put that genie back in the bottle.
No, that's not what you guys are doing. That's not what you guys are doing with a rectal thermometer with babies and talking about your husband getting a threesome.
There is no pivot, No,
it's over, man.
Yeah.
Like literally, like stuff like this. Like I wish they would take your bankruptcy protection from you. Like I wish everything. I literally wish they'd allow the whole system. It's awful, man. And you wonder, like, and this is part of it. This is related, like hand in glove with the woke sex religion. Why does the woke sex religion that wants to trans your kids, teach them about all kinds of sexual, disgusting depravity things? They're infiltrated. Why are they doing that? Why are they doing all that? Where does all that lead? Well, some people would say, oh, it's just about freedom, stay out of my bedroom. But we're seeing where it leads. It leads to normalizing pedophilia. Yeah. And this ad campaign, if we really want to talk about it, what Frida is trafficking in is normalizing pedophilia with threesomes and just the tip and pull-out game, talking about babies and those phrases. That's pedophilic.
Yeah.
Like, that's what this is.
Saying that this just makes light of the isolation that comes with parenting and raising kids, that is the dumbest.
Yeah, it's also creepy, too.
Excuse. No. Sorry.
Yeah, you're isolated, and you're alone, and it's messy, and you're alone with a child. Like, you could get to a really dark place really quickly, and that's not me going there. They've already gone there. This is them doing that. Yeah. And so may the boycott of Frida Baby continue. Look at this Instagram post. You guys can't read it, but you can see the sweat on the baby's eyebrows there, or on the face. Getting all hot and sweaty, thinking about what's dropping tomorrow. Can you guess what it is? Now, maybe if that was the only one, you'd say, yeah. But still, who does that? Who even does that?
Yeah.
Nose Frida pro tip. The magical filter saves you from boogers and germs. Be sure to replace it after each snot sucking. And remember, suck. Don't swallow. Please don't Google that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I'm just outraged by it. I just can't believe it. And here's another one. Okay, so this is an advertisement for, I'm not exactly sure what the product is. It looks to be like another type of thermometer of some kind.
Yeah, it's a digital thermometer.
A digital thermometer, and this is what they say about it on Instagram. Hey, Mom, what is nightstand top drawer worthy, battery operated, and comes in clutch when things are hot and steamy? Guess our new product drop below. So now we're basically
at vibrators.
Yeah, we're at vibrators.
Yeah.
We're selling sex toys.
Yeah.
Sex toys now.
Yeah.
It's insane, man. all to sell
No.
baby products. Here's another one. Nose Frida helping parents pull out game since 2007.
There it is.
And then, of course, this is not disgusting. I mean, it's insane. So,
It was very. I'm not going to make light of the situation.
No.
But it is very, very satisfying getting those big giant snot rockets out of there, though, and seeing.
Well, of course,
your
I've
little-
used it, and then
little
they get
kids
relief. Yeah, it
relief.
was a great invention, and guess what? There's plenty of others out there at this point that are not baby Frida.
Yeah. But this company and this stuff, they're done.
All right, we got a bunch of comments from this segment. All obviously we do from LFA TV. We have Bad Moon 001 writing in. In fact, it's time to remove all sex ed from public schools. It just opens the door 100%. We have Har 2. Oh, please God, strike them down. Let's see. What else do we have? If you see anything, Eric, let me know. We've got Clee Sully. So disgusting. Hang on one second. Bad Moon writes, can we drive into these places with a garbage truck and toss it? Yeah. I mean, I don't condone anything illegal, but yeah, it'll be in stores right now. I see what you're saying. Like it's in stores right now. This stuff.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be for long. But what do you want to bet that, like in blue cities and blue states, this stuff will still sell like hotcakes? What does that say? I mean, I'm not trying to get to some sort of baby Frida inquisition. There may be people that have no idea. They bought the products and they have no idea what they bought. That's 100% the case, and a lot, those people exist out there.
And I'm not trying to stand up on some holier-than-thou high horse either, but if you can't look at this objectively and say that's completely inappropriate to be using that language and terminology, like as it relates to these babies that are pictured, like and to try to pass it off as, again, getting back to what they said about, oh no, we're just talking about the isolation of and that parents go through raising young kids and just trying to make light of it, of the situations. Like no,
Yeah.
sorry.
Sex on the brain. That's what this is also about too. This is about so the head of baby Frida, again, Hirschhorn. She went to Washington University in St. Louis. She is also where she majored in political science before she got her doctorate, or she got her law degree at Yeshiva University, I believe. But when I saw that she went to Washington U, which in St. Louis, which is it's an expensive place to go.
Oh,
and it's also very liberal.
Tremendously
It's a very liberal school.
Sure.
So this lady goes to liberal
for being
school.
in a a Midwest flyover state.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get a picture of her real quick. So I'm going to throw that up on just so we know who we're talking about here. Images. Yeah, this is the lady.
$100,000 plus to go to that school every year too.
Yeah. This is the lady right here. This is her. This is the owner. Frida CEO shares her winning strategy as a leader. Get comfortable with bucking the trend. Oh yeah, wow. Get comfortable with bucking the trend. So this lady, she graduated from Washington University, which is a liberal school, but she got a political science degree, which means, come on now. We're talking about even more like political science. By the way, you're almost guaranteed to get a liberal view of things from school, but much less Washington U. And then she becomes a lawyer and everything else. I guess
We've talked about this before. This is that pushing the Hollywood trend of, I'm gonna take this one step further. I'm gonna push the envelope of what makes people comfortable. I'm gonna say the things that shouldn't be said. I'm gonna do what Hollywood does and try to, have some shock value in the things that I say. And this is the stuff that eventually guys like Ricky Gervais and others call out for being the disgusting nonsense that it is.
Yeah.
And this is just her following that. Let's just push the envelope a little bit further so that we can get more clicks, get more hits. You and I are talking about it right now.
We are. You're right. You're right.
So,
but I think
she's probably partly sitting back and saying, "Job well done."
That's true. That they're definitely we could be feeding into that for sure. What I'm trying to say is she's a leftist, and when what the left has done, what we have seen over the last 10 years, is they view everything through the lens of sex. Everything to these people has got to be about what about your lusts? Who did you lust after today? Well, who did you lust after today? Well, I lusted after this person today.
Well, I don't know how.
Oh, yeah.
Kramer.
Yeah, Kramer. Yes, that was Kramer. Yeah, well, how was your day
Did
today?
you have a good day today or a bad day today? Well, I don't know how.
And he's like, no, that's not for me. You don't want that. And then he breaks the pact with
Because
George.
it's dinner time. And do you know what you do at dinner time?
You talk about your day. Sorry. Yeah. But
hey, we can always go back. We can always go back to Seinfeld, brother.
We can, but that is so crazy that you literally knew. I wasn't even. You literally knew where I was pulling that from. I love that.
My family got me the DVD set years and years ago of Seinfeld. And I think I wore those things
Talk
out.
about your day.
Marriage, family,
they're prisons, Jerry. They're not prisons.
Doing time.
Okay, sorry. No. But seriously, the left, they have sex on the brain. Everything has got to be put through that frame. That's how they value it. So if the left is all about, and so a child doesn't have a sexual identity. Okay?
Yeah.
You're a child. You're not sexual. But if they're adults and they have now come to believe that everything they are, or at least the most important thing about them is, am I gay? Am I straight? Am I non-binary, queer, cisgender, teenage mutant ninja turtle? Like, whatever it is, like, if that's the most important part about you, you look at a child who doesn't have any of that, and what do? Force it. They've got to decide now. They don't know. We need to educate them. Force this sexual prism in front of their face, and let's tint everything with that. All of their education is about this agenda. And I see what's going on with this baby Frida thing is the exact same thing. They have put sex on things for babies, on thermometers for babies, because they think it's the most important thing about a person. Not that they're made in the image of God. This whole exercise is a denial of the divine and a denial of God. And what is it? And it's satanic. And the reason it's satanic is because it ultimately filters down to what? Attacking the kids, getting the next generation. Keep in mind, their entire LGBTQ movement depends on new converts. If you and I and the rest of people in conservatism or on the right or on the Christian right continue to have kids, continue to get married, become grandparents, all of this stuff, it's basically a math game. They lose. They've got to have new converts. They've got to go into schools. They've got to get control of the institutions, which in many cases they have. Like what Pete Hegseth did, trying to make the military about killing people efficiently in war versus the rainbows and the people in the dog masks and the furries and everything else. They have gotten control of the institutions, and we're trying to push them out and take them back, and stuff like the Frida thing. And I'll shut up about it, but it needs to be said. They see everything through sex. They're obsessed with sex. We're an over-sexualized society. It victimizes people in a lot of ways, and now they're trying to go after kids.
And not just sex, sexual immorality, and the Sodom and Gomorrah type bad stuff that goes along with what is such a beautiful and wonderful thing and should be such a wonderful time. They demonize it and make it into something nasty and gross. And that's what our society needs to fight back and push back on, because we've turned the other cheek for way too long on stuff like this and let it pass as to not make too big of something over nothing. And we hurt ourselves, and the devil won, and that's exactly what this is.
Bad Moon writes this. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. Pulling this up. It says, yes, they're using our children as fountains of youth. Interesting. Bob T 2020. I agree. Satan owns them. And we have 2 RM, Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0.
There it is.
Yeah, that's exactly. It does feel similar to that, 100%. All right, so we do have, speaking of the LGBT, we do have kind of an update on that. The Supreme Court of the United States has recently ruled that schools cannot, speaking of taking back the institutions, this very thing we're talking about, this is a perfect segue, rules that schools cannot socially transition children without their parents' knowledge or consent. Parental rights don't end at the schoolhouse door. And this is from America First Legal. It says, use America First Legal's template letter to protect your kids and opt out of these radical policies. So this was news that broke yesterday about the Supreme Court ruling about a law in California. I didn't realize this, but one of the plaintiffs in this case was being transitioned, this is a girl, was being transitioned to a boy without her parents' knowledge. And I'm just going to read a portion of this from Breitbart. The class action lawsuit was originally brought by 2 Christian teachers in California in 2023 and was later joined in 2024 by several concerned parents whose families have been impacted by the policy. Among the plaintiffs are John and Jane Poe, devout Catholic parents who allege they were never informed that their junior high daughter was being treated as a male at school for almost a year. When the child Poe unsuccessfully attempted suicide 6 months later, did doctors treating her inform her parents about her ongoing gender transition at school? So that's part of this case that we can show you now, where you literally had a girl that was attacked by this ideology. And I feel like we should use that terminology. This girl was attacked by the ideology and was so confused and became so upset and demoralized that she tried to kill herself. And only after the attempted suicide, where she didn't kill herself, praise the Lord, do they realize, wait, what? I cannot imagine if you're a father in this scenario and you're not being told that your child is being assaulted every single day when they leave your house and told these evil lies, and then it almost cost them their life because of words. Like worm tongue or something, So, you get so depressed by this ideology that you just decide to kill yourself. And then they find out. I don't know how the father contained his rage. I honestly don't.
This is why this is why parents all over this country need to know who their school board members are and who their superintendents are at the schools where their children go, especially if they're in the public school system. And I'm a big advocate for homeschooling and for private schools, because you deal with less of that. But especially in the public school system, you should know exactly who your school board members are and superintendents and principals are, because they all have policies as it relates to this stuff too. And it's not like, Donald Trump says this will be the policy of all public schools in this country. This is how you deal with this, and this is how you deal with that. So, you could have all kinds of different ways of dealing with this. I mean, here locally, we had a school board have to have a policy in place for a kid that wanted to use the bathroom in a kitty litter box.
That's right, we did.
So
they were identifying as cats.
They were identifying as a cat
in Christian Red State, Arkansas.
So everybody needs to, not be fooled into thinking that your school is somehow,
above the fray.
Above that. And you will have issues as it relates to it, and you need to be ready to deal with it and have a conversation and figure out not only how as a family are we going to deal with it, as how we communicate with our children, but also how are we going to fight back and help help the rest of the folks that we're in the system with, raising our kids with, like, this is not okay. And it's tough.
You're exactly right. And, I know for a fact there are still public schools out there that are good. I know of one that will remain nameless in a very small Arkansas town, and it's like going back in time 50 years. Bible verses on the walls, and really, really cool stuff. And the reason I'm not naming it is because I don't want anyone to know where it is. I'm not trying to mess up their utopia that they've got going on in there. Because you just know the second you tell them something good's going on, and it might be remotely, distinctly Christian, then we've got to go attack it and try to destroy it. And I wouldn't want that. Wouldn't want that for the kids there. So I'm not saying, I'm never one of these people that's like all public schools bad. With that being said, I don't use them. I don't use the public school system, and I understand people that don't. And the most radicalizing event in my life was becoming a father. And I realized there's just no way. Me personally, there's no way I could do it. Especially because the world was going crazy. I mean, in 2017, it was going absolutely nuts back then. And you thought, I don't have, and this is really sad because I know there's good teachers still. And I know a lot of the teachers are victims by the bureaucratic system that, if they could, they would turn teachers into robots so they could predict everything that comes out of their mouths. Like that's what a lot of this is. And, but I just, there's no way in this day and age, I could hand my child over to somebody for 8 hours a day. Yeah. I also have a problem. Oh, go ahead.
Well, we talked about this a week or two ago where I was telling you guys that in a recent conversation with my parents, like the deer in headlights look that they gave and the apologies that they gave after we explained to them some of the things
we did have this
kids have to deal with these days that we didn't. I mean, they just apologized profusely after that conversation. Like, we're so sorry that your kids, and granted, smartphones are one of the biggest culprits and catapults for those types of problems. But it's just to see them understanding a little bit more about what parents in the school systems deal with now, and that kitty litter box was something that my kids were aware of through other conversations with other kids.
And they never told you.
Do you think I ever had that conversation or knew about anything like that when I was growing up? Yeah. No, of course not. It was just not ever even talked about and was never a thing. So my parents released me to a great little public school in Southeast Missouri growing up, and the school system was great. But, man, some of the things that are going on now, it is absolutely bonkers.
Hey, one of the things we forgot to mention is that it is primary day in a few states. It is primary day here in the state of Arkansas. We have, this is election day, March the 3rd. Because I see somebody that says Jasmine Crotch is, Jasmine Crockett, Sherry Welch calls her Crotch Itch, is demanding the polls stay open later due to confusion of people knowing where to vote. Is that true? I mean, I'm saying, assuming it is. I'd love to get a source on that. If we could figure that out. Jasmine Crockett. Let's see what happens. See if I can't figure this out live here on air. It's election day. Okay, so it is election day. That was 8 hours ago. She said anything? Thank you to send. Well, anyway, so we'll get results tomorrow. We'll have results for you from Texas. We'll have results from Arkansas or wherever else. I mean, I'm obviously interested. I went and voted today. Are you an election day voter or are you an early voter type guy?
Early voter type guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm an election day voter. Number one, just because I like to do that. I like to, because a lot of people say that you got bigger turnout on election day. I like to be a part of that.
One of the hospitals I work at is just right down from the annex building. So
okay,
it's
like to be part of the unknown. But I also like to vote on election day because I think that's the day that everybody should vote. I think early voting is ridiculous.
Sure.
I think that's where people cheat, and it needs to be a 1-day process, or potentially a 2-day process, but certainly a 1-day process. It should be a holiday. We'll get the barbecue grills going. It'll be like the 4th of July, but in different, in the spring and in the fall. And it'd be a lot of fun. And I don't see why we can't do same-day voting. It's ridiculous, but that's just me. All right, so next up we have this story. Let's see, what time is it? It's 13 after the hour. We did the Supreme Court thing. Let's go. Let's go here. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, here we go. Here it is. All right. So, where do I start? Marco Rubio took to the cameras yesterday, and he gave a very honest answer that there's not too many times. I've been doing this a long time, and I almost always know when this is spin or that's spin or whatever. And when Marco went to the cameras yesterday and said, hey, look, this is how the bombing started. And he said, look, this is how the bombing started. Israel said, hey, we're going to attack. We knew that if Israel attacked, then we would get hit because it was already predetermined. The chain of command in Iran had been decentralized. And so the president made the decision to attack first because we could save more American lives. And I was like, okay. I was like, that seems like an honest answer. I felt like Marco Rubio was being honest with me. By the way, I still believe Marco Rubio was being honest about the situation. But because there is this public debate that's been going on for a while now about the benefits or the pitfalls of the United States and Israel's relationship, kind of like an inseparable relationship. And because, so people ran with what Rubio said, saying, see, we got pulled into the war with Iran, and that's what they said. And I would just say, yeah, I don't understand why this is the big deal it is. Obviously, I know it's a big deal because the debate is raging on about whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing. I understand that. But that doesn't change the here and now, because United States foreign policy and Israeli foreign policy is baked in. That's not, and it may change someday, but it's not going to change for the foreseeable future. It is what it is. But the media ran with it, other people ran with it, and created, I guess, some sort of controversy now where the President Trump got asked point blank, did you get pulled into this? And he said, no, if anything, I forced Israel's hand. It's like, okay, that's, okay, all right, that's fine too. We're just trying to get to I'm trying to figure out exactly what happened, and I'm listening to the leaders. So Marco Rubio went back to, well, first of all, let's hear Mike Johnson. So it wasn't only Marco Rubio who said this yesterday. It was also Speaker Mike Johnson. He gave the same story, and it sounded like this. Listen.
The most critical point is that this was a defensive measure, a defensive operation. And why is that? I took some notes, and this is not classified, so I'll tell you what I think is important. Israel was determined to act in their own defense here, with or without American support. Why? Because Israel faced what they deemed to be an existential threat. Iran was building missiles at a radical and a rapid clip to the point where our allies in the region could not keep up. As you know, Iran has long vowed to take out Israel, wipe it off the map, and they have long seen that as a critical threat to their very existence. Because Israel was determined to act with or without the U.S., our Commander-in-Chief and the administration and the officials I just named had a very difficult decision to make. They had to evaluate the threats to the U.S., to our troops, to our installations, to our assets in the region and beyond, and they determined, because of the exquisite intelligence that we had, that if Israel fired upon Iran and took action against Iran to take out the missiles, then they would have immediately retaliated against U.S. personnel and assets. We have troops in harm's way, and we have many Americans in the region, and that was of great concern. If we had waited for all of those eventualities to take place, the consequences of inaction on our part could have been devastating. We don't know at what magnitude, but you can assume, because it is common sense, that if Iran had begun to fire all of their missile arsenal, short and mid-range missiles, at our personnel and our assets and our installations, we would have suffered staggering losses. And if we had waited to respond before acting first, then those losses would have been far greater than if we had done what we did. To me...
Okay. Eric had to jet. He had to go, and he apologized that he wasn't able to say goodbye. So I think he's back on tomorrow. Rob's back on tomorrow. So you have me for the rest of the hour. I hope that's okay. All right, so let's analyze that. That was Mike Johnson. It seems like a cut and dry explanation. It's the same explanation that we got from Marco Rubio, and yet, by the way, this paint. Okay, it depends on how you look at it, and I think President Trump said, he pushed back on the question today in the Oval Office. Hey, were you forced into this? He says no, because President Trump doesn't want to appear weak, nor do I think President Trump is weak. But I think that's kind of one of the reasons why we got the response that we did in the Oval Office today. But this particular response from Mike Johnson, this response yesterday from Marco Rubio saying, look, Israel was going to attack. We knew we were going to get blamed. We knew our troops were going to die. So we attacked first to save American lives. That is exactly what we can talk about. The foreign policy allies and treaties, or we can talk about that's a separate conversation. We're talking about the here and now, okay? And so that would be exactly what you would want from a commander-in-chief, his top priority being the protection of American lives, if at all possible, the protection of American lives. And yet we have, this exercise today where there's this pushback and seems like there's this tap dancing. And by the way, Marco Rubio essentially today said the exact same thing, regardless of how certain people are spinning it. Listen, this was Marco Rubio earlier.
Did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you asked me that follow-up, and I said no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision. So
he said, you asked me yesterday, did we go in because of Israel? And I said no.
The decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program.
He said that as well.
Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation, not the question of the intent. Once the president made a decision...
the question of timing, exactly. And so all of the headlines are still the same. It's still essentially the same. The question is the timing, because people have noted about this particular conflict. They've asked the question. It seemed kind of sudden. Now, you would expect a surprise attack to seem sudden. Okay, I grant you that 100% makes sense. But you have seen people talk about how, there wasn't, you would think that maybe we would have gotten more messaging in the State of the Union about kind of selling this on what the interests are. And we did get some interests, we got some mentions in the State of the Union. But there was a lot of people that kind of get the feeling, and I think it's generally safe to say that this happened pretty quickly. And I think it happened suddenly and quickly, and the timing was moved up because American lives were at stake. Okay, but I think there's anyway. Continue, and I'll give more here in a minute.
Decision that negotiations were not going to work, that they were playing us on the negotiations, and that this was a threat that was untenable. The decision was made to strike them. That's what I said yesterday, and you guys need to play it. If you're going to play these statements, you need to play the whole statement, not clip it to reach a narrative that you want to do. All right?
Well, look, we did play the whole statement in terms of he gave a question and we played the statement, and we covered this on the show yesterday. We just said, okay, I mean, people can make up their own minds based on what was said. And again, for the first time in a long time, Marco Rubio, not just Marco Rubio, any politician, I was like, okay, Marco is just telling us what happened. Like, he is telling us the truth. And I still think he's telling the truth here, by the way. He's just categorizing timing, imminence of the attack, but he kind of reiterated what he said yesterday in this follow-up clip. Watch.
No, but you have to read, if you're going to read the whole statement.
Your quote is about, we knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that would precipitate an attack.
Yeah, no, I understand. But listen, all right, let me understand. But I had a very specific question from that gentleman, right?
The president said that.
Hold on one second. I asked a very
force Israelis.
Okay, but let me answer because this is my press conference. Sure. Okay. You asked me, I was asked a very specific question, so you guys can misrepresent it, but I was asked a very specific question yesterday. The bottom line is this. The president determined we were not going to get hit first. It's that simple, guys. We are not going to put Americans' troops in harm's way. If you tell the president of the United States that if we don't go first, we're going to have more people killed and more people injured, the president's going to go first. That's what he did. That's what the president will always do. He will always put the safety and security of our men and women in uniform and of all Americans before anything else. He's always going to do that, and that's what he did here. In addition to that, I would argue that this threat from Iran, they are hiding behind these missiles and hiding behind these drones. They wanted to reach a point where you couldn't touch them, and then they could do whatever the hell they wanted with their nuclear program. And there is no way in the world that this terroristic regime was going to get nuclear weapons, not under Donald Trump's watch.
Again, so that's this. It's essentially the same thing that he said yesterday, saying it today, which is Donald Trump's not going to let American troops get hurt first if we can avoid it. And so because the attack was going to happen, the retaliation was going to be directed at us, then we go ahead and act first to take out as many of the missiles and stuff that we can. Obviously, our bases still got hit. Other countries still got hit, but the idea was it would be a lot better. Now, if they'd have done nothing and then we would have gotten hit, well, there's two ways to look at it, and I know I'm Monday morning quarterbacking. Look, I don't know. I'm not in the situation room. I don't know. I'm not a military guy. I never enlisted. I never had the courage to do any of that. So, I mean, I and many other people like me are way out of our league. I'm just going to be perfectly clear. Like we're really way out of our element here. Where all of a sudden I'm an expert on Middle East policy, and I'm obviously not. But if we had done nothing and then Israel attacks and then we get attacked, well, number one, you talk about people being upset. People be more upset than they are as this debate rages on, and then troops die. But then it would get, which would have been tragic, but then you would even have more, you'd have more outrage, and you'd have, but you would also have the ability, you'd have probably more arguably more international support if we got hit first. So I don't know. I don't know what the big deal is. And like it is what it is. Marco Rubio, I think, is delivering honest statements. Mike Johnson delivering honest statements about how this all started. And I get it. I know there's a debate that's been going on about the wisdom or the prudence of the Israel and United States foreign policy being a monolith. That debate has been happening, and it's going to continue to happen. I understand that. But that's not going to change anything anytime soon. So it's a given, right? It's baked into this situation that is very volatile in the Middle East, where you have, it was quoted the other day, or before I came on, I don't know who said it. I'm quoting somebody else from another show, so forgive me for being ignorant, but that Iran is a paper tiger with steel claws. So they have the ability to really make things really bad for a while, right? Probably for the next 4 weeks, but who knows? Maybe longer. But the fact that our foreign policy is what it is, it's going to be that way, that's a given. There's really no need for the administration to counter-signal, because I think the narrative is actually really good for the administration from a political standpoint of our soldiers' work. We would have more dead soldiers now had we not gone ahead and attacked first. But people are getting hung up on the fact that it was Israel that was going to attack and people are getting hung up on that because it gives fuel. It does. It gives fuel to the argument of people who are critical with this geopolitical relationship. So, people are trying to eat their cake and have it, is what's going on here. And It is what it is. Look, I hope this does not lead to boots in the ground. I told you yesterday, I did not vote for Donald Trump because I thought we'd be in another war in the Middle East or another military operation in the Middle East or whatever you want to call it. I am just hoping for the best now, which is I hope we accomplish whatever objectives we're going to accomplish and I hope we our troops. What am I saying is like I just don't want our troops to be put in harm's way. So when I say accomplish whatever objectives we need to accomplish, I'm just wanting this thing to be over. I'm wanting this thing to be over, but I also realize we may have started something that is difficult to contain, and that brings me to the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump. Let's see. Can I fix this screen? I apologize. I've got one of my settings kind of. There we go. All right. So let me look at the chat real quick before I move on, because we're live on LFA TV. We appreciate the great audience at LFA TV. We really do. Once again, our guest, my guy in chair number 2, Eric Haynes, the great Eric Haynes. He had to step out. He had to go. Rob Spencer's not here today, but hopefully all three of us will be together tomorrow. And if not, I'm going to work very hard, diligently to fill the seats. So what do we have here? Let's see. Bad Moon 001 in the chat says, controlling the attack is so you can gear up for retaliation and be prepared. Sounds logical to me. Controlling the attack is so you can gear up for the retaliation and be prepared. That's exactly right. You also are able to take out the missile batteries. You get to wipe them off the board so you have less missiles coming your way than you otherwise would have. So there's that as well. So TC33181, it doesn't matter how well it is explained. The left will not accept it. The timing was right for the strike. Okay. Let's see here. What else do we have? We have DCon13 who says Trump will do what's best for America. I trust in him. We have Carl Ben J says Russia, China, North Korea, and Democrats all condemn the U.S. strikes on Iran. Notice a pattern. So anyway, again, you guys know what my position on it is, and we have to deal with the here and now. As I said yesterday, I now know, I'm a Christian, so I know that God is sovereign, and I know that what's going on now in the Middle East is part of His plan but so was you and me getting up in the morning, right? Like He has a way and a sovereign plan for everything that happens, and decrees it. In fact, all things will come to pass, and so when stuff happens like this that we maybe don't understand or makes us worried or whatever, at least in my personal walk, that's what I try to at least rely on. So y'all are talking about Texas in this chat. Pray that Texas is smarter than crack itch and they vote her out. Oh, so you're talking about Jasmine Crockett. So yeah, Jasmine Crockett, she may get voted out of office. We're going to find out. If there's ever been somebody that has like played a part, that is just clearly there to play a part, it's Jasmine Crockett. She is well financed. She is well financed, and she is there to play a part. She is an actress. She is an actress, and you can tell because she loves to code switch, and she's just there to be useful. And to follow, whatever order she's given about, where to be put into the Democrat apparatus world. Here's the deal: those of you saying that you hope Jasmine Crockett loses, you're not going to be rid of Jasmine Crockett. Okay, if Jasmine Crockett loses today in Texas, it's important to know that she's not going to go anywhere. She will be placed somewhere else. She will be on TV, or she will be maybe she'll go do what Beto O'Rourke did. And and start running the political action committee. She won't go away. You'll see her, and you'll still see her online. And if she gets a contributor deal or a TV show or whatever, you'll see the clips of her craziness on X. Somebody like Jasmine Crockett, you have to understand, is an investment. And people have already invested in her. The apparatus has already invested in her. And the communists are not going to just let her go away. Whether she wins or whether she loses, she's not going to go away. And she knows this, by the way, as she is, awaiting the results of her political future or her electoral future. But she does have a political future. I'm just warning you. That's I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but that's it. But she's also like the worst thing for Democrats. She's actually, the more she runs her mouth, the better she is for our side, because she is that crazy. I mean, she's not actually that smart of a person, and that certainly shows. Okay, but back to the Strait of Hormuz. So China, this is somebody, I've never followed this person before, I'm not sure, but somebody on X says China is pressuring Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. There's just one problem. This is saying that Iran did not actually close it. 7 insurance companies did in London. China buys 80% of Iran's shipped oil. Beijing has $400 billion 25-year cooperation agreement with Tehran. China is Iran's economic lifeline. If any country on earth has leverage over Iran, it is China, and China is now using that leverage to demand the strait reopens. But the strait was not closed by a sovereign decision. It was closed by the withdrawal of reinsurance capacity from 5 to 10 firms, mostly in London, backstopping 12 P&I clubs that cover 90% of global tonnage. Iran did not order those firms to withdraw. Iran cannot order them to reinstate, neither can China. Even if Tehran capitulates entirely tonight, even if right now the IRGC stands down, not a single reinsurer reinstates Gulf War risk coverage on a phone call from Beijing. Reinstatement requires rebuilt risk models, voyage by voyage re-underwriting, repriced treaty capacity. Anyway, it's all very complicated. I think you can get the point. And that is why President Trump, ladies and gentlemen, has just decided to guarantee the insurance of these ships by issuing insurance and using the Navy, offering the United States Navy to essentially escort any of these shipments to the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this is good in that I just paid higher gas prices today. I don't know about you, but when I went to fill up my car today, I was paying $2.99 a gallon, which was up from the $2.30, $2.40 that I had been accustomed to. So gas prices are almost at $3 here in Arkansas. Let me know, by the way, what are your gas prices right now, wherever you're listening from. I'd love to know what the price of your gas is. Just go ahead and tell me the price, and then tell me where you are listening from, where you live. And I'll get to those here in a minute. So it's a good thing that Donald Trump is saying, hey, look, we're gonna try to get these shipments through the Strait of Hormuz, and we're going to use the Navy to do it. Now, what that also does, though, just so we're perfectly clear, it also is going to put our troops in harm's way, because we're dangerously close to Iran, and Iran may decide to sink our ships and attack, which is just going to escalate things even further. But that also brings me to Marco Rubio again, because Marco Rubio, just like President Trump was signaling this yesterday, they keep claiming that there's about to be some sort of operation, that up to the point the U.S. has not even used its full capacity yet, and that there's something big coming soon.
The last point I would make is, and I said this yesterday and I repeat, you're about to see, we're going to unleash Chang on these people in the next few hours and days. You're going to really begin to perceive a change in the scope and in the intensity of these attacks as, frankly, the 2 most powerful air forces in the world take apart this terroristic regime and defang it and take away its ability to threaten its neighbors or hide behind a zone of immunity that allows them to develop their nuclear ambitions. This terroristic, radical, cleric-led regime cannot be ever allowed to have nuclear weapons. We saw what they were willing to do to their own people. They were willing to slaughter their own people in the streets. Imagine what they would do to us. Imagine what they would do to others. Under President Trump, that will never, ever happen.
So, again, this is the second day in a row we've heard the United States say Rubio, President Trump via CNN said this, or Jake Tapper was reporting on CNN, that, and now we hear Rubio, they're going to unleash Chang. And so I go back to my question from yesterday. Are we about to see some sort of Venezuela moment where we heard the troops say that we had next-gen tech, or they were bleeding from their ears and they didn't understand what was going on, and we had our guys. Now, that in that context, that's boots on the ground, which I don't want boots on the ground, but we've heard about the development of direct energy weapons for a long time. We've seen some of them, and it's always the conventional wisdom that whatever they're letting us see is not what they really have. So is President Trump look, what we just went through, this whole exercise of, hey, American lives are at risk, so we're going to do our best to limit the amount of casualties we have. We already have casualties, but we're going to try to limit the amount of casualties we have. If you've got next-gen tech and you still have that mentality as commander-in-chief, then you would have to use it. Have to, if you're going to be consistent. So I wonder, because I still read, and I know President Trump, he did say, look, we're going to be fine. Our munition supply is going to be fine. There are other sources that say that there's a numbers problem between the amount of munitions that we have that we can resupply with our factories the way they are versus Iran that's just been stockpiling these things for forever. So you just wonder. Vice President J.D. Vance, he said the same thing. He went on the air and said something similar, that they have no idea the capabilities of the United States military. And I'm just previewing all of this because I'm excited to know if that is in fact true, just from a historical standpoint. Are we about to see technology that we didn't even know existed? That's my question from yesterday, and I reiterate it to you guys today. We're going to take a brief commercial break, and don't go anywhere. We're going to be back. We'll wrap up the show when we come back. Thanks for being with us.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
All right, that's promo code Paul, P-A-U-L. We would very much appreciate it. So earlier I asked you to sound off about gas prices. That's because we're talking about the Strait of Hormuz. We're talking about what was going on in the Middle East. So gas prices, again, I filled up today, and I was right at $3. It was $2.99. It's definitely up, I think, from $2.40-ish or maybe even $2.30. It's up a lot. Almost to $3, and maybe it was closer to $2.60. I don't know, but it's definitely up because I haven't seen $3 gasoline in a while. So I asked the chat. I said, the great chat here at LFA TV, I want to know what your gas prices are. I'm just curious. In New Jersey, up to $3.15. This is Kit Kat Mar, $3.15 here in New Jersey. John Yarder, $3.09 in Tramway, North Carolina. Kit Kat Mar says New Jersey is run by Marxists. Sorry about that, but I don't doubt it. The communists, they are real. Sherry Welch, it was $2.27 today, and it's $2.57 in town. It doesn't say where she is from. We've got Darlene Dempsey saying $2.65 a gallon in Texas. We've got River Rat 1, $3.95 a gallon in Central California. Wow, $3.95. Man, if that happened here in Arkansas, there'd be a riot. 2RM, we've got $2.95 here in Pennsylvania. We've got P year out. I always am going to have trouble with pronouncing the name. Forgive me on that one. I've messed that one up since I've been here. 236 yesterday, and today it was 279 in Clinton, Arkansas. So there you go. Fellow Arkansan, echoing what I'm saying. It was 299 when I filled up. So 236 yesterday, and now 279, and it's probably going to go up tomorrow. Arizona $3.50, $3.50. That's according to Charlotte Curry. We've got Susan O. B. RNC $3.19 in Corrupt, Coles, Ohio. $2.99 in upstate New York. No. Okay, we went from $2.99. All right, so this is Carl Benji. We went down to $2.99, went back up to $3.05 upstate New York. So, gasoline was getting it was getting consistently below $3 in a lot of places, and now it's certainly ticked back up. Tashi 247, $2.61 in Massachusetts. Deb K 58, $3.29 in Indiana. Washington $4.19 according to Roz 2798. Wow. $2.63 is the cheapest in Cleveland, Ohio, according to Debbie. And then we've got San Diego, California. Gas is $4.80 in San Diego, California, and it's down a few cents. Well, that's interesting. Wow. Well, so there you go. I don't know. We got some more. Okay, man, these are coming in like crazy. Spokane, Washington, Calpurnian 61, $4.09, $3.18 in Idaho. Childers 02, $2.69 in Ohio, Midwest. Mr. 1 Bears, today gas is $2.99, diesel $3.99. It's $2.99 where I'm at. $4.15 in Nevada, according to NY Girl 66. Clever $4.19 diesel, $4.19 diesel. And River Rat 1 says, I'm moving to Oklahoma, and it's under $2 right now. Wow. Well, yeah, there's a lot of oil over there. A lot of folks. Houston, Texas, $2.29. Anyway, it's nuts, man. Hopefully, I guess that's my point. The reason I asked for the gas prices is because President Trump's announcement that he's going to try to get the Strait of Hormuz open by using the Navy and insurance. Matter of fact, let me see if I can just pull this for you real quick. And because we definitely, Trump says U.S. Navy could escort ships through the Straits of Hormuz. So it's the Navy Times here. We have this. President Donald Trump announced on his proprietary social media platform, Truth Social, Tuesday, that the United States military could help shipping vessels travel through the embattled sea passage as the war against Iran rages on. In a Truth Social post, Trump offered the possibility of naval assistance and called upon the United States Development Finance Corporation to provide risk insurance that would guarantee the financial security of maritime trade operating near the Persian Gulf. So I got a feeling this directly ties to gas prices, right? Which is why I asked you guys for the gas prices. Here is the President Trump post on Truth Social. Effective immediately, I've ordered the United States Development Finance Corporation to provide at a very reasonable price political risk insurance. Now, the reason, again, is because a bunch of folks, I think back in Europe or back in Great Britain, have canceled all the insurance on the ship, on the ships coming in the Strait of Hormuz because it's so volatile. They don't even want to insure them. So Iran doesn't even really have to sink a tanker to close the Strait of Hormuz because everything's so volatile now you can't get ships to sail because of the insurance. Donald Trump is saying the American people are now going to insure these ships, and then they're going to give them a Navy escort. He says the Navy will begin escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz as soon as possible. No matter what, the United States will ensure the free flow of energy to the world. The United States' economic and military might is the greatest on earth. I do think, for whatever reasons, there's a lot of talk about why we went into Venezuela the way we did. And we can certainly speculate there's probably more than one issue, right? Maduro could have been election fraud, could have been a lot of stuff. But it was the oil. Oil certainly helps us out in this situation. If the Strait of Hormuz, if it's going to be a lot more difficult, which at least it will be for a while, having access to Venezuela's oil in our hemisphere certainly helps matters in terms of the country, in terms of America. Okay, what else do we have here? Hang on a second. I saved this one for last. Oh yeah, here it is. Live from America TV over on Twitter, over on X. Sorry, didn't mean to dead name X. Haven't seen one of these in a long time, folks. I haven't seen this persecution of people for political beliefs in a while. Specifically, if you're a white guy and you got Trump gear on, it can still trigger people. And this lady here works at a Smoothie King. Well, I should say no longer works at a Smoothie King. This is how it all went down.
Which is discrimination.
Yeah, we're at Smoothie King, and they're discriminating and saying we cannot get service because Jake has a Trump service on.
Okay, well,
so
you said you were going to leave, so please just have a great day and leave so we can continue what we're doing.
We were just wanting a smoothie, and you literally looked at us, and I asked you if everything was okay. You said we don't feel comfortable serving you because of my husband's hoodie. Yes. That is discrimination.
Okay, well, have a great day.
That is illegal.
That's illegal.
So pay attention to what they're saying here, because the girl that's got fired, that's now trying to make money off this with a GoFundMe, she pretty much paints herself as a victim. No, not surprisingly. But listen to exactly what's being said.
I said Trump discriminates us. That has nothing to do with us wanting a
I said Trump discriminates us, so I'm not going to give you a smoothie. But it gets better.
Smoothie.
Okay, but that's who you support. That's who you love, though.
You don't. But you don't own this. You don't own Smoothie King.
You're going to no longer have your job.
Literally. Like, I'm confused.
Hey,
is this a joke?
Good luck maintaining your employment. I don't care. Have a great day. When your company is charged, yeah, you will.
So literally, Jake's wearing his hoodie. They would not serve us because Jake's wearing a Trump hoodie. Talking about discrimination.
That's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. No, what's embarrassing is that we're American citizens and I wanted to get a smoothie.
Because my manager was here, she said the same thing to you. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying to you, okay?
But that's hey, you know that's a crime, right?
It's not.
Discrimination.
We have the right to refuse service here, and that's what we
not
did.
due to.
We have the right to refuse service, and that's what we did. Oh, my goodness. That would have been true before the 1964 Civil Rights Act. That's right. We all used to have that right. The right of freedom of association, the right to refuse service, but none of us have that right anymore because the 1964 Civil Rights Act completely undid the Constitution in terms of the government, in terms of you having the right to tell the government to leave you alone and them actually having to listen. But that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. In the grand scheme of things, in a true, free society, you would have the right to refuse service to anybody for any reason. Now you have the right to refuse service for, a small amount of reasons, but it can't be a politically incorrect reason. If it's a politically incorrect reason, it's against the law. Or it may even be a hate crime, depending on what was going through your mind at the time. Isn't that interesting how all that works? Isn't that interesting? It is very ironic. We have the right to refuse service. Why? Well, because you voted for Trump, and you're white. And let's be real here. The latter, the whiteness, is the real triggering thing. Here's a couple. Here's a white guy. He's got a Trump he's got Trump swag on, and you've got black people behind the counter, and they feel triggered by it. They can't handle it, and so they're the ones refusing service. I'm sorry, sir, you can't sit at the counter. We'll serve you a smoothie in the back, though. Can't you read the sign? Your kind's not welcome up here in the front because you're a white guy and you got Trump gear on. So we'll serve you in the back, though. You just got to go to the back. The lady, she's. I'm surprised she wasn't. She didn't say something like, "You lost, boy. You lost, Trump voting boy. You lost." I'm surprised she didn't say that. But anyway, it goes like this.
It's political views, though. Not due to political
You asked her
views.
what was wrong, and she said that she was uncomfortable,
It's a
right or
crime.
wrong.
It's all right.
You asked the question, and she answered, have a great day.
That's a
Have
crime.
a great day.
You know that's
The
a
door is
crime.
right there. Have a great day.
How embarrassing.
Have a great day. Call the police. Okay.
Wow.
Discrimination.
Yeah, I am going to call the police.
Hi guys, it's Janai and Michelle. I'm just gonna explain what happened yesterday at Smoothie King Ann Arbor. So basically, it was really busy the whole day. It was just me and my other coworker. And basically, this couple comes in the midst of it being like super busy, so we cannot attend to them right away. We're just like, hello, we'll be with you in a moment. And they're just giving us really weird looks. And so like, we're kind of looking at them back, like, what's going on? And that's when we realized they're wearing Trump merch. And that's when my coworker says to me, like, that, like, this is making me uncomfortable. Like, this is weird. Like, cause mind you, it was really the day right after Black History Month. And,
Oh my goodness, that changes everything. Had I known this was March the 1st, you mean to tell me it was the day after Black History Month? Black History Month was over. The shortest month of the year, the Black History Month was over. And they came in as white people, and we're black, trying to serve them, and they're wearing Trump merch? I mean, is she honestly, I know I'm making, but is she honestly saying that they were like in an emotional state of volatility because Black History Month was over and they had to wait on white customers in Trump gear? That somehow compounded. You got to understand, Black History Month just ended. Okay, so we were in a volatile state. That's our month. Okay, that's our month. And then they come in and they expect us to serve them after Black History Month was just yesterday, but now it's not. Now it's not today, and they expect us to do. I don't know.
And that's when Torta asked us if there was an issue, and that's when my coworker said, like, yeah, we're uncomfortable because of your sweater, of your husband's sweater, and she was taking an order on the headset for the drive-through, and then so that's why I was doing most of the talking, because she was attending to the customer, so that's why, like, yeah, like we are uncomfortable, and then that's when he immediately gets loud. As you can see, guys, in my video, we're just saying, like, yeah, like, we're uncomfortable, blah 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 blah, and then he immediately gets loud, like, discrimination, you're discriminating.
Well, yeah, that I don't know if he got loud, but he certainly said discrimination. So LFA TV writes, the woman who refused to serve the Trump supporters at a Smoothie King has been fired and now has a GoFundMe to support her unemployed behind. So there's that for you. It's been another great day broadcasting here on LFA TV. That is all the time that I have. I'll see you back here tomorrow, and I'm going to hand it off to the next host. I want to thank our sponsors, Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, 7 Weeks Coffee, and Sherrod Chiropractic. God bless everybody out there. We'll see you tomorrow.